Yo, what's up? Back from the meta update. I'm actually able to record it at the time I wanted to, because the servers are up this time. Unlike last time where they just fucking weren't. So, yeah. The As per usual, we're going to start with the carry role, head all the way over to Soul Lane. There are some changes this time, not to this role, because this role stays stagnant until there's some significant changes, but there might be some new characters that pop up. Regardless, there'll be timestamps for your respective roles that you're looking for down below. Anyway, we can start. So, at this point, if you watched the last few, you know who I'm already going to say. Hachiman, I think, is still the best ADC in the game, especially for ranked. He's versatile. He can go the two builds that I've been talking about. This is kind of the main build that hunters have been going. They've been replacing Titan's Bane with Silver Branch Bow. But if they aren't going this and they're going the Gilded Arrow build, they've been dropping the Silver Branch Bow and the Oboe, and they've been finishing the build out with a Deathbringer and going into Diamond Arrow, which is something you can do. You don't have to do it if you're not like comfortable with crit or you don't like crit, but Spectral Armor is shit, so crit is still good, and it helps you do objectives a little bit faster. That's really up to you. Pretty much every carry can build this build, or either one, other than Marticarus, who has his own build that I will show, but yeah, I'm not going to go as in-depth with the builds this time for certain characters because I went really in-depth last time. But this is kind of what you were looking at. In terms of with Hachiman, with Rama, Hachi, Rama, Cernanos, Ishtar, Shibalanke, all playable characters. Medusa has seen a spike in play, but I can't pin her down as something you should, like, 100% start picking up yet, because I don't know. I feel like she doesn't deal with the backline dive that is really good right now compared to the other ones. But she might be a better pick. I don't know. We still have a lot of time. Yeah. But Marticarus. This is the build you go with Marticarus. Especially now with Crusher and Heartseeker being buffed, this is the build you go. For some reason, we buffed Crusher and Heartseeker, and didn't nerf Marty last patch. I don't know. The balance team seems incredibly lost, and if you didn't watch my patch notes review, I am writing a video essay on the fact that they are lost. And they either are so out of touch that they don't know what they're doing, or it's very difficult to see. But they nerfed Mercury scaling on his 3. But they didn't nerf this character, who's been performing peak for a while now. I don't know. This character is ridiculous and needs to be changed. You can play him in mid or in carry, and he still frags. You build the exact same build every single game, carbon copy, and you still fuck. About it. Anyway. If you're gonna go outside of those picks, though, I wouldn't, but Uller has been seeing a spike in play, but he really isn't. That's just because of the ability-based hunters being playable now. Because Crusher and Heartseeker are usable in the support role. Ganesha, Yamoja are both incredibly strong picks still. They're both incredibly powerful. Ganesha can give his carries an item's worth or more of protections of both stats by pressing 2 near them. It's ridiculous. Yamoja is just a strong support if you are good with her. She has a very low skill floor, but a very high skill ceiling. At the top level, you can do so many things with her. If you get good with this character, you can just solo carry games. I'm not kidding. She could do so many things. But yeah. Ares got a buff last patch. A ridiculous buff, mind you. CC reduction by 30% at all ranks with this too. That is actually absurd. This character is ridiculous. And before I was saying, oh, if you're good with him, you should play him. If you're not good with him, you shouldn't. Or you should practice him. You should definitely put this pick in your pool. That is ridiculous. That stat is insane. With Sovereignty combined, you essentially are a healer for your team with HP 5 when this is activated. It is ridiculous. Ares 2 is a ridiculous ability, and this character is insanely good. The only problem is if he gets behind, it feels bad. Which is why you need to kind of get good with him. That's really it, though. So, Ares definitely rises up as a pick that's definitely more prominent than he was before. Other picks. Boat Boy. This character is ridiculous. His first ability is awkward, and the CC it has is kind of just discreet. Where certain abilities are very loud, very obvious that you've gotten hit by them, Heron one is very, I got hit by it, there isn't a very loud effect, and I'm silenced and I didn't even realize it. But that's not even the OP part. Being able to give a shield to your damage dealers that is based off of your health is fucking ridiculous. Like, actually absurd. That is broken. And is insane. You have to build erosion into this character. As a tank player. And there's no really debating that. This character can do so much. He has a global ultimate. It moves slow, but it can be very effective. He is ridiculous, and you should definitely be picking him up in support. I play him in solo lane because I'm a clown, and I like building him full damage or, like, hybrid. But this character is a really good support, and you should definitely be picking him up and practicing him if you're a support player. Outside of him, though, Atlas, Bacchus, Kuzumbo, Sobek, Terra, all good picks. Athena's not bad. Kepri's not bad. Geb has been seeing a rise in play a bit. Also, Eset has been seeing a decent amount of play as well. And she's doing pretty well. This is just at the top end. But this is what I'm seeing winning. If you like the Eset support, I definitely would practice it and play it. Because it is powerful. Especially in the early game with the objective secure it has. And in the late game with the shielding it has, it's ridiculous. You can do a lot and get a lot done. I really like that she kind of is effective in the support role. Because her mid's kind of awkward, but it's definitely playable in support, so. Moving over to mid lane, we gotta talk about Grandma. So, I'm not really sure what to do with this character, right? So, the problem is, to my knowledge, this has not been fixed yet. Baba Yaga ult is bugged. Each individual hit of Baba Yaga ult is proccing Soul Eater, or Soul Reaver. And that's each throw on the same target. It's supposed to only do it once if you hit the same target. Not the tick, but the throws. She is banned in competitive leagues, or, well, Baba Yaga buying Soul Reaver is banned because of it. It also procs on Glad Shield, which is just funny more than anything else, but the build is also not really favoring her, because right now the mid lane build is kind of shifted into a tablet book build sort of thing, which is the more spammy kind of mage build because of just certain things going on with no percent pen, which is annoying because they're still shredding you because they have true damage with tablet. Anyway, Baba Yaga is still definitely playable. And if you're a bug abuser, you could definitely abuse that bug. But that makes you a weirdo. Anyway, I gotta talk about Tiamat. This is kind of the baseline build you'd be going with the more spammy mid laners. You can finish out the build with what you want. You can go percent pen if you want. You don't need it. You can finish out with an E-staff. You can finish out with another defense item if you want. This is kind of what mid laners have been going, though. Chronos pendant even, but you probably don't need that. Shut up. The mid laners are kind of just spamming, and Tiamat is like the King Arthur of mages. She can spam the shit out of abilities, get tablet stacked, and do 1 billion damage. The book build is kind of back, and it's back in a big way. Tiamat abuses it very, very well. And I would say she's at the top of mages. Merlin is another pick that abuses it very well. Thoth is another pick that abuses it very well as well. Yu Huang is another pick that abuses it. Discordia's not bad at it. Agni's very good at it. There are a lot of picks that you can experiment with. This build's still kind of newer to being back, so I'm going to have to wait a little bit, but I did want to inform you of it because it is kind of just what it is. I didn't want to give you an outdated build. So, look into it. I've seen a bit more Nua. Has it been winning much? No, because the changes to Nua didn't fix her problems, but I've been seeing a bit more of it. Tebow is still a very playable pick as well. Hell is playable. But yeah, it's kind of what you're sticking to. Moving over to jungle. I would wager, that Thor is one of the best junglers in the game, if not the best. Robin has kind of fallen out because he's reverted. He's basically reverted to the state he was before the changes were given to him. Granted, he still has Assassin Pen, but we'll talk about him later. Thor is incredibly strong. His damage is incredibly high. He plays multiple roles, but that's not really as important for this in ranked. He has a semi-global. This guy's powerful. He shreds. Crusher and Heartseeker are back, so he just explodes people. He's a Hydra's character. He likes Serrated Edge. He just does so much. This character's good. He's pretty simple to do. You just kind of get it done. Not really much else I could say. You can build him. You can also build him Bruiser if you want. But I can't say more than I haven't said in the past few meta updates, so. Another pick, Susano. This pick's fucking annoying, and it's broken. Can we just nerf him already? He does too much damage. That's really all it is. This character does too much damage. I understand that his kit is... There's this myth that it's skill expressive. It really isn't. If you played this game for more than maybe... I'll give you a generous bit of maybe 30, 50 hours, right? You should learn how to basic attack cancel. Which is using a basic attack before an ability, then using the ability immediately to not get the basic attack movement penalty. This character is ridiculous. Hydra's, Serrated Edge... You just absolutely explode people with the Heartseeker Crusher buffs. They just die even faster. Again, but we gave Heartseeker and Crusher a buff. I don't know. This character's ridiculous. Not really much else I can say. I will say Robin is still playable in jungle, but I don't think he's the end-all, be-all, best character in the game anymore. After the changes he's gotten. He's definitely strong. After playing with him a bit, though, he's not like the end-all, be-all jungler. Ratatosker, having an Athena taunt-sized stun is pretty good. It's not the gigantic cone it is, but you get my point. It's the same length. And a little bit longer, actually. But it's pretty good. The semi-global he has is very strong. The crotch shred he has, very strong. Mobile character, high damage. Pretty good. You can build him tanky, you can build him full damage, you can go fucking crit if you want. Though I wouldn't recommend it. It's pretty good. Kali. Kali's been strong for a while now. The Assassin Pen, plus the pen she gets on the target, plus auto-attack builds being good, makes Kali good. Really not much else I could say about it. She's powerful. Late game, if she gets to late game, which most games are going to 25 minutes plus, she's powerful. And she just runs through games. She just chops through tanks, chops through carries, chops through everybody. Kind of just what she does. So, play her. Some other picks you can go. Naja. Bakasura is definitely still playable. Serket's still playable. Set is very playable. Lancelot has been seeing a rise in play, and he's been doing pretty well. Fenrir, Cleo, Pele, all playable picks. Moving over to solo lane. What I was saying about Robin being weaker in jungle does not apply to solo lane. This character is still fucking ridiculous there. Once again, I'm going to summarize it. Assassin Pen passive. Ridiculous. He could build full tank, still do a fuck ton of damage. He builds Glad Shield. He feels pretty non-dying, you know. This character is stupid. And he's one of, if not the best solo laner in the game. Like, the only one who comes close, I'd say, is Wukong. Because Wukong's fucking broken. But Robin's crazy. And this character is bonkers. That's really all it is. In the late game, he's super difficult for carries to kill. He dies really well. He has the double CC immunity. He absolutely farms mages. Robin is the mage killer. He hard counters a few of them. Poseidon in particular absolutely gets rolled by Robin. But they are kind of lost on what to do with him. You should abuse him as a solo laner for as long as you can until they kill this character. You can still play Thor solo, and it's still very good. I wouldn't call him... I'd say he's like number 3 or 4 in terms of like the best solo lane picks right now. Because he's just strong. You build him the hybrid build you were building. I say hybrid. You build him the tank build you were building. Glad Shield, Spikes, or you go the Arc Druids, that sort of stuff. And you just roll people. Thor just does stuff. And that's all it really is. And then we got the Monkey King. This character is without a doubt the best warrior solo laner in the game right now. His passive is what makes him so strong. Being able to... You can almost never trade into Wukong. There are very few characters who could do it. He wins or goes even in every single lane. The only lane he quote-unquote, like, loses early on is Jormungandr because he gets outpushed. But after a certain point, he just doesn't care anymore, and he clears the wave and he walks away, or he just fights the Jormungandr and kills him. That's really all it is. Wukong doesn't care after a certain point in the game. He's incredibly good at diving. He's very difficult to kill on the dive as a support, carry, and mid. And he just runs games. You should be banning this character if you're a carry player, because he will just shit stomp you. Outside of them, though, the more manageable solo laners, Cucullin, Tyr, Guan Yu, Achilles, all still feel pretty good. Hercules isn't bad. Shiva isn't bad, but again, Shiva's problems are he's a CC bot, and in the late game, his ultimate is dog shit. That's kind of just what it is. Odin isn't terrible, but in certain comps, he's not great. King Arthur isn't terrible either. In terms of assassins, Ratatoskr isn't bad. Susanoo's playable in solo. Lance is playable in solo, but they're better in jungle. Naja's also playable in solo, but he's much better in jungle. Camazotz is playable in solo. But we gotta talk about this guy. Jormungandr, high pressure solo laner. You build him with a little bit of damage. I build him a bit more tanky than some other people do, but this is kind of what you start most of the time. Get Tainted Steel. I usually finish the Glad Shield. If I'm against a physical, I finish the Glad Shield first. If I'm against a magical, unless it's like Ao Kuang most of the time, I just go Chronos Pendant first. But I usually finish the Glad Shield, then I go into Chronos Pendant, and then I start building my other defense items. Because if you build the Tainted Steel into Chronos Pendant, you are susceptible to dying a lot easier to ganks, because Jormungandr, despite having a ton of pressure, actually dies to ganks pretty easily. Pre-5, and then even after 5, it takes you a little bit to get into the ultimate. So, be wary of that. This character has a ton of pressure. In the late game, you are a poke character. You don't have to engage fights. You don't have to start them. You're a poke character, and if they engage on you, you press 4, and that's when the fight starts. You have an insane ranged poke, and you have very good damage. I gotta talk about this guy. Ao Kuang feels powerful. Very powerful in solo lane. In fact, I've been getting farmed by this pick. Granted, recently, one in particular instance was against Haddix. I didn't even realize I was playing against Haddix. I had went to the bathroom, went upstairs, saw Ao Kuang. I was like, okay, it's Ao Kuang jungle because they have a Thor, right? Thought it was Thor solo. Didn't even press tab. Walked into lane. Didn't have beads. It was Ao Kuang solo. I was like, fuck. And then I just got executed on CD because he was just hitting me. And I was playing a shitty character. I was playing Osiris. So I just got farmed. Didn't help that I was getting camped, but that's besides the point. I'm mauling. Anyway, this character is powerful, and he is deceptively very good at trading in the early game. You would think, oh, he's a late game character. He likes to get a couple items online. He can fold you in the early game. And having to play with 30% less of your health is something akin to Achilles playing with 35% less of your health. But you need beads to avoid Ao Kuang execute. He can't miss it, which means you don't have teleport, or you don't have your immune, or you risk dying. You have to play something safe, unless you're Jormungandr. But he can still kill Jormungandr pretty easily. This Ao Kuang pick is on the rise, and it's definitely powerful. You should definitely look to practice it a bit. Other than that, though, thanks for watching. Like, sub, all the YouTube BS. If this helped, let me know. If you think there's anything I could improve on, also let me know in the comments. Join the Discord, link down below. I always post when there's content in there, and I'm trying to build a bit of a community thing going on. I want to run viewer games, but I don't really have enough of a viewer base on Twitch to kind of run them, so I'm trying to build that. Also, follow the Twitch. Yeah. Anyways, peace.